Hi everybody, I'm Simone Giannelli and you are listening to the Ace Space.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Ace Space, the volleyball podcast brought to you by CEV, where every week we speak to a world-class volleyball player. It gives me great pleasure to welcome back for the second episode, Simone Giannelli. Hello.
Hello.
And from the CEV, the number one man. I've got to say that, Dan, because you're here. But I do mean it truly and deeply. How are you, my friend?
Thanks for the very nice intro once again, Dave, and glad to be here.
Good stuff. Simone, it's so great to have you back. Has anything fun happened since the last time we spoke? Anything to report?
No, everything normal.
Normal's good. We like normal. Dan, great news for sports fans. You're actually back in Luxembourg in the CEV office. How's everything going there?
Yeah, CEV is starting to open up. Luxembourg's starting to open up. So hopefully we'll have volleyball soon before we know it.
Oh, I cannot wait. So if you're brand new to the podcast, welcome. We are lucky enough to have our guests, our co-hosts, for a number of episodes. Last time, Simone, we spoke about Italian volleyball. This time, I would like to speak about setting, because we can't have one of the best setters in the world on the podcast without trying to get inside the mind. Last time we spoke, you said that you still think you could do a good job in the top league as a hitter. Dan, I've not had a chance to speak to you about that. What do you reckon? Do you reckon he could do a good job swinging?
Well, Simone, I think being one of the best blockers, probably the best blocking setter that I've watched. So I think hitting on the other side of the ball could be great as well. For sure, you could be a hitter.
But why did you finally settle on being a setter? Was that your decision or the decision of the coaches?
It was my decision because I want to be a setter, because for me, setter is more interesting because you can do it whatever you want and you can decide whatever you want about your spiker, about your team, how your team can play. So the tactic, the technique, is, I think, a little bit difficult. It's difficult because you have to understand the moment, your player, everything. But I love set. And I think that is more interesting that about because hitter, you only hit the ball. You can only make the point, but setter, you can do everything. You can hit the ball, you can set, you can block, you can everything. So I love setter.
When you see a ball being passed, how do you make the decision? If you want to hit on two or not.
I don't know. In that moment, I decide what I want to do. I don't prepare anything. It's all instinct now.
I've got an opinion on this because over the I am not going to tell you what the opinion is, but over the last few months, I've been lucky enough to speak to lots of great volleyball players and many of the finest setters in the game. Simone, would you say that setters, as a general rule, are the most intelligent players in volleyball?
For sure.
Of course.
Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to tell you what my...
Dave, were you a setter?
Absolutely not.
Neither was I.
Okay, well, let's talk about setters for the new generation then, because you are very much a part of this new generation, which seems incredible given that you've been a pro for 7 seasons now. And last time we spoke about your debut and how the cards fell, and at 16 years of age you won a national championship. Did you feel like you were ready at that point when you were a teenager, ready to play at that top level?
No. I think that at this age, at 16, you are not ready to play at this level, because you have to study, to work, to improve your game, and to take your level in another level. No? So I think that the important thing at this age is the mentality, because you can you can do it something special only with the mentality and with your with your character. So I think that at 16 you are not technical ready, but you can do it something good only. You can do it at 16 because if you want to do something, you can do it. So.
Sorry, Dan, were you going to go there?
I was going to say, were there any teammates, at the beginning in Trento who kind of brought you under their wing and helped you out in those beginning few years?
Yes, when I was 16, I had the lack of my teammates because I was playing with Matej Kaczynski, with Biarelle, with Osmani Guanfarena. So it was easier for me, because I have only to put the ball in the air and then okay. So for sure it was for me easier because I have a very, very good team.
And how would you feel now welcoming a 16-year-old into the team at Trentino? Would that seem like a crazy thing?
Yes, yes. It's strange, it's strange, but I think that everyone can do it what I do when I was 16. So I am ready to speak and to make confident this kid.
But it seems to me that Italian setters kind of can mature pretty quickly. I mean, Riccardo Spertoli, also very good young guy, Nicola Salsi, another young Italian setter. So I don't know what it is about Italian volleyball, but you guys very good very quickly.
Yes, in Italia we have a lot of setter and a lot of good setter and a lot of small setter, no? So yes, there are we have a school of setter, and every year it goes out a lot of setters. So the important thing is that the top club give the opportunity to these young players to play and to make experience.
So you're often mentioned in the conversation with as the best setter in the world, or certainly amongst the best setters in the world. How comfortable are you with that label?
About this top best setter?
Well, so if somebody says, "Oh, Simone Giannelli, he's the best setter in the world," how does that make you feel? And do you agree? Is that something you're comfortable with?
It gives me nothing. So because I know what I am and I know what I want to do. So I think that now I'm not the best setter, and to call best setter is difficult because about what you can decide best setter or not best setter. So I think that is only opinion, and it's good. I like if you say Simone Giannelli is the best setter, but I want to do more. I want to practice. I want to improve my game, and every time that I go in the court.
So Dan, I'll bring you in here because as fans of the game, when I see a big game coming up, I don't know whether it's like Italy or Brazil or I don't know, Trentino versus Zenit Kazan or something like that, I look at battles on the court, and if there are two great setters, that's something I really look forward to. Dan, is that something that you'll single out before a game as well?
Yeah, well, especially when you watch the Italian Superliga, we have, Giannelli yourself versus Bruno on Lube last year and versus Luciano De Cecco on Perugia. So basically every weekend you had a superstar setter battle when you had those top teams playing each other, which was just, as a fan, it's amazing to see.
Yeah, so Simone, to follow that up, I was going to ask you, do you really look forward to pitting your wits against great setters, or is that just a sort of another part of the game for you, whoever's across the net?
The first thing important for me is to win matches. Okay. So this is the most important thing. But it's very fun. It's very fun to play against good setters, play against Bruno, De Cecco, or something else. So it is very very important to win, because then you can say yes, I won against Bruno and check or something. So yes, because play against this super setter is interesting, because you can learn from the match, learn from the other set, learn from the experience. So it's cool. Yes.
In big competitions, you've got quite a good record against top setters, actually. So I made a note of a few. You're about level with Bruno. You're up on Butko. You're up on Christensen. So far, so good against the super setter.
Perfect.
You mentioned Bruno in an interview with Sport Italia, I think maybe last month or the month before. In terms of months, time just doesn't exist these days. I've got no idea what day of the week it is. But is he sort of one of the guys who you admire in the sport?
Yes, I mentioned him because I think that he is very impressive, like for his leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So he is a good setter. Obviously, he won a lot. He won a lot of title with national team, with clubs, Modena and Lube. But the thing that I love of Bruno is the leadership, because when he plays for the national team or for the clubs, his mentality is the same, and he is very incredible, because every time you play against Bruno, you know that Bruno is there and he wants to win against you. So I don't know if it's possible to yes, I am thinking.
Oh, that's okay.
No, it's
Yes. So the important thing for me is I told you before, is the mentality, and for me Bruno is the players that have the best mentality and the best leadership in the world right now. So it's important to learn this about for him.
It's interesting you singled out his leadership as a quality there, because obviously that's something that is a huge part of your game, and being the captain at 23 and being experienced enough to do that. When you were first breaking through, I know we keep going back to the beginning of your career, but did you see yourself as a leader, and did you see the captaincy as something that you really wanted, or did you kind of just grow into that role? Was that a quality that really came to the fore as you played more in the senior teams?
It's as a difficult question, this. I think that the leadership you have inside you when you grow up and when you play, and is not a thing that came up one day. You have to you have to study, to improve, to speak with your coaches, with your teammates, to understand what is leadership, and then you can study to be a captain, or to be a leadership, and to be like Bruno, to share your mentality with your teammates.
Okay. I'd like to speak now about different players and how you set to them and how you get that relationship with them. I had a lovely chat to Lucas Camper the other day, and we concentrated on Groza, and because he's such a superstar spiker, is there a different way that he kind of has to set to him? And you have worked with so many great hitters. I mean, you mentioned Juan Terena there at the very beginning, but now it continues to evolve both for Trentino and the national team. How do you build that relationship with your spikers, and who really dictates that? Is it you as the setter or them as the spiker? And does it happen in practice, or do you have conversations about it? How do you really build that? And do you have to set different ways to different hitters?
You have to both. You have
Okay.
to make a lot of practice during the whole, because you have to understand how they want your ball, how want their set, how quick they want, how high they want. So for every spiker is different. and then you have to make a lot of conversation, because you have to understand how they think, no? So for this, setter is very difficult role, because you have to do a lot of things for one set. So and you have to be precise, to be clear in what you want to do with your spiker. So yes, it's both things.
So you have like a hitter like Namir Abdelaziz joining you next year, who likes a really like high ball to the right side, maybe. So are you looking at film right now? Like, are you doing any prep work ahead of time, or you just, we'll wait till we get in the gym and then we'll figure out what tempo we need?
Now the important thing is to watch. I like watch the videos. So you have to watch him, and then you have to speak with him what he want, and then you have to go in the court and make practice and make a lot of set with some different ball, and then you can reach what you want to reach.
Do you ever have players in the team, like particularly middle blockers, just say, maybe give me a little more ball? I'd like more ball. Because you've got some great middles in all of your teams, and if I was those guys, I'd be like, oh, come on, just set me some more ball. I want to make more kills. Simone, I have got a real bee in my bonnet, and one of the agendas that I really want to push with this podcast is the fact that setters never win the MVP award. You never get a setter who's an MVP. And right at the beginning of this episode, you talked about being the setter, and you love it because you get to pretty much decide the way the team plays. So do you think setters need more recognition and should be getting more MVP awards?
For sure.
Of course, Dave, of course.
I one time I take the MVP, and was in 2015 in the final against Modena when we won the second Italian league. But only this time, because I made, I think, 12 points. So it was incredible, and they give me MVP because only for this. But yes, because the MVP going on always to a player that make a lot of points, only for this. But I am here to set you, and if I don't set you, you don't make a point. So this is the point.
Oh, I totally agree. Just go on, Dan.
I was going to say, Simone, you're probably in one of the best positions as a setter to win those awards, because you do get so many blocks and so many aces. So
yes,
one time. That's crazy. You've played in every major championship. You've won all these medals, and you've been like the consistent in all of them. But it's not just you, is it? There are so many setters who've like won games for their teams, or won championships for their teams. And
yes,
I don't know.
I am agree with you.
Good. That is one tick in the box. Make a note of that, Dan. We've got Simone is back in the cause to make MVPs the setters, or setters the MVPs. Do you know what, though? We'll have to get some liberos on, and they'll be saying, well, if setters are going to be MVPs, then liberos could be MVPs as well. But I suppose it is a lot easier, and I know you're a big advocate of this, Dan. If you can look at the percentages of the attackers, and it makes the decision a lot easier.
You gotta look beyond just the points. There's a lot more to the game than just the points.
Okay. Simone, there will be a lot of young setters now who see you as the kind of beacon to base their game on. And youngsters all have those icons that they, when they step out in practice, they're like, oh, I'm Simone today, or I'm Bruno today. When you were young, did you have any setters or any players that you really looked up to and idolized?
No, because I told you last time I was playing at this time tennis, skiing, and football. So I enter in the volleyball, in the world of volleyball, and I know nothing. So my idol was Roger Federer, but and is now Roger
Yeah.
Federer. But from volleyball, no.
Have you had a
So-
chance to meet Roger Federer ever?
He's the best. He's the king for me because
Yeah.
for technique, but also for you know. He won everything, and he's shy, he's calm, is incredible.
Not only did he win it, he won it in style as well, didn't he?
Yes,
I mean,
this
just
it's this.
yeah. There are some people who just transcend this sport, who just reinvent it, and he's
Mhm.
still majestic, absolutely
Yes.
phenomenal. Yeah, I wonder because there might be a time where somebody overtakes him. So Djokovic may end up winning more majors, but I would still see Federer as a superior player. And similarly with boxing, there are people with better records than Muhammad Ali, but I still view him as the greatest. Or, Tiger Woods hasn't won the most majors, but, I still see him as somebody who reinvented golf. I wonder what it is about those people. And I suppose the question is, and it was a long-winded question, what is it about those people that even though there will be people who achieve the same things as they do, there's just something about them that brings them to the fore? Because you're not the first volleyball player who's told me that Roger Federer is the greatest athlete of all time. He's a very popular man in our sport.
Yes, yeah, it's about everything for me, because an idol is not only for what he do in the court, but how he do, and how he speak with the media, with the people, with the world. So Roger Federer for me is incredible because he won a lot. He is very rich. He is very famous all over the world, but he is he is the same. Is the same that play tennis and stop. So you never heard about Roger Federer that goes out one time and one night and he makes some disaster with alcohol, with I don't know. He's an example for me. So about everything.
Wasn't he announced this month as the highest earning sportsman? Which I thought was incredible, really, given, there was a time where he won all 4 majors in the year and had that huge sponsorship deal, but he's still at the top. He's amazing.
Like Simone was saying, I think it's also, obviously he's the greatest tennis player of all time, but also that he's very mature and responsible and kind of someone that people can look up to. I think that's a huge part of getting all those sponsorships that he gets.
Yes. All right. Well, anything else you want to cover here, Dan?
Yeah, I did have
Go
one
on.
more question about setting. So Simone, you're kind of like a new breed of setter that's a lot taller, very athletic. You and someone like Micah Christensen, bring a lot of physicality to the setter position. Kind of a new breed of setter. Do you find that? Do you think that's the way for setters going forward? That they're not always a blocking liability or the shortest guy on the court, but actually very physical players?
Yes, I don't know. The time changed. So now, yes, the setter are more physical, so more tall, more good in the block. But it depends. It depends because this setter of Argentina, this one that is not so Sanchez.
Yeah, Mateus.
Yes, for me, he is very, very good. He's not so tall. He's short, but he's a phenomenon. William, the setter of Brazil.
El Mago.
He's not El Mago. He's not tall, but for me, he's the best setter.
Dan, let's talk about Mystery Man then, because Matt and myself were very lucky to speak to a bit of a legend of the game, to say the least. And we've been laying a trail of breadcrumbs to see if the rest of you can work out who Mystery Man is. We've been giving you some clues. In fact, you've been dishing out the clues, which I think is a very unfair way of doing things because you don't know the answer either. But you have got the latest clue. What is it? Let's see if we can join the dots.
All right, so yeah, you're right, Dave. I have the clues, but I don't know who it is yet. So we'll just play we'll play the clue here for everyone first, and then I'll give it a guess to see if I can possibly guess who this is.
Shoe size. I tell you what, if you can identify a player by his shoe size,
what is your shoe size?
You really are the CB super fan. Who have you guessed so far, Dan? Have you had a stab at it?
No, I have no idea so far who it could be. There's just not enough. I mean, there's so many players that could fall into this. Like, Dave, what's your shoe size?
My shoe size is UK 12, US 13, European 47. So if anyone wants to send some shoes, then...
But, yeah, I mean, shoe size 14 is not incredibly big because my shoe size US is 10.5. So I don't know if this is the biggest player ever. I'm not sure. Maybe like a Michal Kubiak, who's a pretty famous guy, but not the tallest volleyball player. That's going to be my guess for today. Polish Michal Kubiak.
I can neither confirm nor deny, but it's a good guess, and I like your I like
trying
your
to have a bit of logic here and try and think about it. But if you guys have any guesses as well, comments, tweet at us, do whatever, because if you guys can guess it from only 3 clues, that is very impressive.
The hashtag is Let Volleyball Talk, so let us know who you think it is. And yeah, if you get it from those clues, then fair play to you. What I will say is, I'm very excited about unveiling who Mystery Man is, because it is a great guest.
I know that the hype is building, Dave, for sure.